Hi everyone, my name's Jenna. I am an energy healing practitioner and teacher here to share with you on my channel ways, tips, and other ideas to inspire you and help you to be the best that you can be. My mission is really to help expats, starseeds, and anyone who really doesn't quite feel at home to ground in that feeling of being at home within, because it's an inside job. So it doesn't necessarily have to be related to where you are in the world, where you move and where you work, but from within. And so we're going to move today through some tips and some ideas to help with culture shock, whether that is, out of your own country, or maybe you've moved somewhere else that's within your country, a different town or city, state, region, whatever that is. And so we're going to work on anchoring in that feeling of home within. So today's topic is culture shock, but moving through the adjustment phase. So, what's the adjustment phase and what are the phases before? So, the first phase is the honeymoon phase, when you move or go to a new place and everything seems great. It's new, it's exciting, you like it, you're having fun. And then the next stage is the frustration, even a hostility phase, where things are not quite as they seem. And the things that you think are normal for what your expectations are often aren't. And so there's this frank frustration and anger that can build up because things don't seem to be going the way that you would like. And maybe you're spending a lot of effort and energy on trying to understand and trying to get things the way that you would like them. So it's kind of almost like you feel out of control in a way as well. So that's the second phase. The third phase is the adjustment phase, and that's what we're going to talk about now and what I'm going to share with you. So in the adjustment phase, it's kind of like the learning phase, if you allow it to be. It's a phase where if you allow yourself to be curious and suspend judgment, which can be hard, but to suspend judgment and allow yourself to learn and move through the adjustments of living in a new place. So that may be having different expectations or understanding more about the culture, cultural practices and habits, and things that can help you feel more adjusted. Now, the trick with this phase is to adjust without giving your power away and adjust without, giving away a piece of yourself, your true self, what makes you you, while you're trying to kind of see how you make your way in this new space. So, this phase is also when things start to get a little bit more familiar. Maybe the food, the people, the language is starting to feel a little bit more familiar rather than just totally something that's new but frustrating in that sense. So I'll give you a couple of tips that really helped me to adjust, and maybe even a story of an example of adjustment. So in the frustration stage, things can happen because you just aren't aware. You just don't know. You don't know the culture. So, for example, for me, here in Italy, at least, one of the cultural mistakes that I made when I first got here was waiting inside a restaurant for a group of people or somebody, because that's what I was used to. I'm from the US, and so oftentimes it can be cold. It can be, maybe you want to hold that place. And so the first person who arrives often will go in and find a table or get a table. Well, here in Italy, it's typically, I don't know, it's a habit or a behavior where people wait outside for each other before all going in together. And so I went into a restaurant and sat down thinking, where's the person I'm waiting for? And turns out that person was outside. And so there's this miscommunication. And at first I got really flustered, and because I didn't know, right? So there's a tendency to get defensive, frustrated, angry. And once you start to recognize some of these patterns or some of these behaviors, then that weight can kind of be lifted, especially if it's not something that you feel is part of your identity or part of your who you are, and you can adjust without giving away who, like suspending who you are just to adjust in a sense. One of the things, I'm just looking at my notes really fast. Another thing, so here are some tips that can be useful, both tips of like taking action and also energetic tips. So one of the tips that I mentioned before was like, if you can, suspend judgment, because that actually will probably make you feel worse, but also can hold that energy of not being able to adjust faster. Because if you're constantly making judgments, whether they're out loud or in your head or thought processes, it's almost as if you're kind of clinging to that. And so that's often what will keep showing up for you. Exactly what you don't want. Another thing to keep in mind is to continue to observe your emotions and your thoughts. So if you encounter a situation and you start to get angry or frustrated, it's like, okay, what is it that's really causing that frustration? Is it because you didn't know something? Then you can kind of let yourself off the hook and find a different way of approaching that. It's like, oh, I didn't know. Now I know. Now I'm empowered or informed. And so the next time I can deal with it in a different way. Also, your emotions are like a guide. They are identifying, or they're letting you know that something doesn't quite feel right. Maybe something doesn't feel at home. And so by following those clues, you can notice where there's a little bit of discomfort or where there's a growth edge. And in this case with culture shock, there's probably going to be quite a few. So use those emotions to get you to observe and notice, instead of those emotions, what do you want to feel instead? And move towards more of that than more of what it is that you don't want, which will keep coming up until you notice that, oh, what do I actually want? Okay, I want that instead. Another thing to keep an eye out for or notice within yourself is when you move more into people pleasing versus being polite and respectful. So if you find yourself changing who you are in a sense that is not in alignment to make somebody else happy in the new environment you're in, that's probably going to backfire in the long run. So instead, you can find ways of being polite, which also leads me into other ways, which is expressing yourself as well. So being polite, but continuing to express your true self. So expressing yourself could be in different ways. You could have a journal and you could use this to express your frustrations, but also who you really are. And even in this new situation, new place, you can use art. So if drawing, painting, is that, maybe even singing, whatever is your thing, your artistic expression of yourself, I would encourage you to continue doing that or find a new outlet for that. When I lived in South Korea, what I did is I worked on a novel. I was trying to progress in a sense, and using sometimes some of the situations and feelings that I found myself experiencing, and I would channel that into story. So that could be an example. I would also recommend hanging out with people who you can express yourself with, because often there'll be language barriers. And even if you're learning another language, learning the language of the place, that in between phase, which can last a really long time, may cause people to hold back in expressing who they are because they can't verbally share themselves. And so finding a group of people who share your language or can be really supportive in expressing yourself in that way. Another tip I would say is find yourself a cultural broker as soon as you can. So somebody who speaks your language, but also maybe speaks the other language, or somebody who can share cultural insights, somebody you can express your concerns or frustrations so they can give you in like an insider understanding of how to navigate those situations that may be frustrating. And one of the last things that I would recommend is opening up to at least the idea of, if not actually doing inner energy work, because the inner work that you do can support the outer environment and outer situations in which you find yourself. So, for example, those emotions that you're feeling, you can use those to do and guide some energy work, whether that's sound healing or some people use tapping. It could be emotion code things. It could be Reiki, anything that supports you in being more of yourself and releasing those energies that are keeping you from being your true self. A lot of that stuff goes really deep. So these culture shock opportunities, I say, are moments where they indicate where there might be some inner work to be done. So this is something that I support some of my clients with, in continuing to feel, be, and express themselves while releasing the energies that aren't supporting them in their current situations, which are, bringing that to their attention. And so these adjustments then can happen in an easier way, and often in a swifter way. And so it's keeping it's actually getting to the root of what is causing those feelings. And so that ability to feel at home in oneself can then be taken wherever a person travels or goes. So that is what energy work can really support in these type of situations, and something that I experienced myself when I was living in Korea. So anything from I was experiencing really bad gut issues, and oftentimes those gut issues can come from not feeling supported on different levels. And so energy work can find where some of these origins are that go deeper than just the situations you're feeling, these discomforts in, and can help to resolve them. So what I want to do now is bring you through a mini meditation and then a mini sound healing for supporting yourself going through this adjustment phase. So think of a time when you are feeling, some kind of discomfort, and you're going to allow that noticing those feelings to kind of inform you. Come up to the surface and notice, what are they? So maybe in this adjustment phase, you feel a little bit flustered, or you want to feel calmer. So you can pause this video if you need to take a few moments to think about it, or to allow that to come up to the surface. The next thing that we're going to do is to focus more and to inform and to direct the energy towards what your preference is. So if you're feeling flustered and you want to feel peaceful or calm, that's what we're going to focus on. So you're going to take whatever that emotion or feeling is for you. For example, if it's calm, and you're going to imagine, intend, sense, or feel that this calm is within your heart space. Now, if that's too difficult to actually feel, just intend, just imagine. You don't have to be in that, but you're going to try. And taking a deep breath in and out may help kind of ground into that. So you're going to feel this energy, or this idea, this thought, this feeling of peace, calm, whatever it is for you, in your heart space. And you're going to allow, imagine, intend that feeling is growing bigger and bigger, more intense, more even stronger, like a ball of energy or a light. And you're going to imagine that's growing, 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 growing until it explodes or bursts out of your heart space. And then you're just going to allow it to go. You're going to release that. And I'm going to bring through some intuitive song that is going to speak to and kind of inform and to energize, ignite in a sense, that feeling of what it is you want instead. So not what you don't want, but what you do want, and allow that to really anchor into your body and energy field and receive, so that you can go off into your experiences and allow that to be your reality. So here we go. So take another deep breath. You might want to move around, adjust, shrug your shoulders, move them around. And really notice how you feel. So how are you feeling before? And now how are you feeling? Are you feeling slightly more calm? Are you feeling that some energy moved? And just kind of take a moment to reflect. And if this video has been useful for you, please subscribe to my channel. You can even hit the bell button so you can be reminded of when I post new videos. And if you know of somebody who you feel this could help, share it with them. You can also leave a comment below about what you experienced, or what were your experiences going through culture shock, or maybe you're still experiencing them and you would like support. You can also look in the notes below for the timestamp. So if you want to come back to this video and listen to the sound, I'll leave the timestamp below. And if you want to go deeper with this work, you're ready to go deeper with the energy work, the energy aspect of this culture shock and adjusting, check out the link below. You can schedule a free consultation with me and just explore what it is that you are feeling and what it is that you want. And I wish you the best wherever you are in this world. Lots of love, and bye for now.